everybody, and welcome to Among the Scholars, a World of Warcraft podcast brought to you by the Adept Scholars Society on World of Warcraft's anniversary Dreamscythe server. This is our first episode, a scholarly pilot. I've got Silverthorns here, an officer in the guild with me. What's going on, Silver?
I'm just excited to be here, ready to see what we can actually provide to the friendly people of Adept Scholars Society and also the community of World of Warcraft. Let them know what we're about.
Yeah, well, and I should say that you've been cast in this position as my co-host because I think, as you said, your wife noticed you have a face for radio.
I do have a face for radio. That is 100% accurate, but I'm hoping the voice sells over the face.
That's fair. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm hoping we can get some viewers off of the deep tones of Silverthorns here, because otherwise you might have to get recast in episode 2.
That would be terrible. Just the initial first pilot episode and then cut immediately. Can't have that happen.
It's cutthroat business, with podcasts nowadays.
I know, it's so oversaturated.
It is, but I'll tell you, Artie Tosis will be ready to take your spot in a heartbeat, I'm sure.
I think he would be too, but I think he's going to enjoy listening a lot more than he would actually be participating, because I know he's got a wide variety of voices. So luckily it's just ours. It's just one steady voice.
Fair enough. Well, I think a lot of people know the origin story behind the guild and my creation of it for the most part. We talk about that in Discord a lot. I talked about that on another podcast before. So why don't we hear a little bit about the Silverthorns origin story?
Absolutely. No, I was a graduate from one of the baby guilds from Adorable Scholars Society. Represent adorable, better than aspiring. Probably not, same. But yeah, it all started there, just being a shaky tank, grinding from, I think you got me at level 15 all the way till now. And I got to come up with Sakon, Judd, and Darrington through that entire duration, and now we all find ourselves on the same raid team. So the experience has been absolutely amazing. Couldn't wish for a better experience on World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's cool. I always like hearing about the alumni coming up from adorable and aspiring. Though I will say, you say adorable's better, but those having tunes of both, I got to tell you that the personalities of those guilds is very cyclical. As people graduate up to the main guild and a new crop of folks come in, they're almost reinventing themselves every couple of weeks now, which it's kind of funny and also pretty fun to watch.
Oh, it's a very dynamic melting pot. I think I got lucky. I'm pretty sure everybody who's come up there has considered themselves the same. But it's awesome to see that both those guilds are still thriving and we're still getting fed all these amazing players to help us out in the long end.
Yeah, and I think honestly that it makes you probably one of the first professors to be promoted that's come up through the Baby Guild too. So I think you're in a unique position there as well. I think all of our other professors have either predated the baby guilds or come up just straight into adept. So it's an interesting position to hold as well.
Yeah, what can I say? I'm one of a kind.
Yeah,
Face for radio, baby first. Here we go.
Yeah, well, it's good. We certainly have lucked out. I know Raid Team 3 has been glad to have you since you've been in the assistant raid leader role there. So I know we've been throwing you the wolves on things. You got voluntold that you'd be leading your first AQ 20, I think, a day or so after after you got promoted.
Absolutely, no. That was an experience all in and of itself. I was happy to do it. Obviously, I'm not gonna back down and be like, oh no. But again, just the community we have here, everyone's been so helpful. It only took maybe a day to adjust, and everybody, even while during it, was still DMing me like, "Hey, do you need any help with this? Do you got it?" So I was set, and I had terrific supporting cast.
People underestimate how tough it is to distribute loot in a raid while trying to keep pace. Especially, I feel, for our hunters who have one less bag to contend with during all of this.
I feel terrible for both our every weekend having to do that. It's just you don't even think about it. Like, you want to get people their loot, but then you also have to realize, hey, we got to keep this moving. So it's not easy. Definitely not for the faint of heart, but if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Fair enough. Um, and I was also thinking, just in terms of the podcast, or you talked about your origin story a little bit here. We should probably talk about the origin of the podcast a little bit and why we're starting this new project. Um, and part of its original conception here is the idea that we have our monthly guild meeting, right, the third Wednesday of each month.
Yep.
But we're finding that the 4 or so weeks in between, sometimes 5 weeks, depending on how the Wednesday falls, is just a little too dispersed for our
It is.
information.
No, absolutely. It is a big chunk of time just to sit there every month and thinking like, if you're not up to date on the Discord or you're not talking to a lot of people, where are you going to get this information from?
Yeah, and I know reading through the announcements channel is not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone has the attention span to do that, and so I'm hoping that maybe if we can provide kind of an alternate, perhaps somewhat entertaining method of getting some news out there on the guild and what's going on. Maybe bring in a scholar or two as time goes by to appear with us, that we might be able to increase the amount of knowledge that's going out, to decrease the knowledge gap that players might have about what's happening in the guild.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'd be a terrific idea to bring people on board just to, get that outside perspective of what's going on a day-to-day basis. And also, I mean, we do have the frequently asked questions portion of the Discord. It is a lot of frequently asked questions. I know you've been through it. You continue to edit it and update it, but that's a lot to read when you could just sit back for maybe 30 minutes, listen to us chit chat, and maybe actually take something away from it.
Yeah, it's 104 at last count, by the way. So
That's a lot of
that's a
questions.
lot of questions. I got to start memorizing them so I can, when I get a question, and you please consult FAQ number 82 to 86 for these answers. Um, but honestly, I know some new people have read through the FAQs. I was in the Baby Guild the other day, and somebody asked a question. That's in the FAQ. Go read it. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know who you are directing these people to the FAQ, but I can appreciate that.
I mean, it's a very good starting point, but I think, once this finally finds its foundation and we kind of get a general track of where we're going, I think we can actually start fielding some of those questions that maybe the guild doesn't know as a whole, and it's something you and I could break the ice on, make sure everyone's on the same page. Um, I know I was talking crap on aspiring. I do have an alt in aspiring. So I was in there the other
The
day.
first backpedal of the podcast. Come on.
I'm sorry. I had to test the waters. I had to see what it was about. Um, but no, it was nice to see. I mean, see, it's just levels ranging from like 10 to 49. They're all asking, man, how awesome would it be if we could just communicate with Adorable, or how can we find groups when aspiring chat isn't as like exactly active at that point? And it helped me to be there at that time because obviously I can just point out and be like, in the Discord we have the group finder, we have the Baby Guild Discord chat, and that allows aspiring, Adorable, and even Adept, if they wanted to dive into the Baby Guild's chat, just to chat it up, helps people, meet some of your potential future teammates coming into Adept. And um, I think that it's easier to, where was I going with
Well,
this? It's easier to accommodate the baby guilds. But I
yeah,
think the biggest thing we're going into right now is obviously AQ40. AQ20 is a big thing too. I know a lot of people have interest in that. I know there's a lot of loot to get out of that. And I think maybe we could start, heading in that direction of what can we talk about that could actually help the guild understand how these AQ20s work and the sign up system and everything that we have going on.
yeah. So I mean, the general topic I think you're hitting on here is group finding in general, right? So there's something in this topic to hit on from the baby guild up through adept, right? So whether you're an adorable, aspiring, or adept, there's some variation of group finding that is relevant to you. So if you're trying to do dead mines in a 5-man or an AQ20 run, there's systems in place that we can kind of tee up for everybody so that folks are aware of what's there and how it works. The adorable and the aspiring side of things is easy, right? So in Discord, there's a baby guild chat, which is designed for those level ranges, 1 to 49 to group find. So you can also use the group finder channel. So both of those channels are options for you. I don't mean to suggest that aspiring or adorable members can't use Adept chat. That's open for everybody as well. But if you're looking to find a group, you're more than welcome to use that channel to talk to people. But I think that you're gonna have less difficulty with your post being buried or kind of pushed past if you're putting it in either of those channels. Like I said, either the group finder or the baby guild channel. And then the other side of this is if you're in Adept Scholars Society and you're looking for a sign up, right? So now we have, it's not just ZG anymore, it's ZG and AQ20. And so for the we tried to keep the system generally the same from when we were doing ZG in Phase 4, but I realize it kind of changed a little bit, so it's probably worth taking a second to kind of walk people through what that system looks like now. And because ZG and AQ are on the same reset, and it's a 3-day reset, we decided to keep ZG because we know people really still need idols, and also casters need a lot of gear out of there generally. So we kept ZG in the rotation. The first night of every reset is a ZG night. The second and the third night of each reset are AQ20 nights. What I think people might be missing is that we will run as many 20-man groups each night as the sign-up allows. So I think what's happening a lot of times is that people are seeing the sign-up at 20 people, assuming, oh, they're going to be full, and then not signing up even on those nights that they could run. And if you have
Oh,
20
I'm
people...
certainly guilty of that.
Right, and if you have 20 people that are doing it, there goes a run that you could have done. So I think it was this past Friday. We actually were able to field two AQ20s in one night at 9 o'clock kickoff for guild-sponsored events.
There you go.
And so I would
Yeah.
really like to see people, hopefully this helps, but figure out that we will run more than one group. We just need the signups. So if you're interested, if you're available, to show up. But those are kind of the main systems for group finding right now. Between the guilds are the Discord related ones.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a different transition just because when we came from ZG, each raid team was still pretty much running those until AQ40 dropped. Like ZG was it was in one of those rotations where it's like if we have enough interest finishing our last big raid of the night, we'll go into ZG. And so I think putting it out there stating even if you see the 20 cap on the sign up sheet, keep going, go above that, hit 40, hit 60, get 3 teams going because that's pretty much what we're here to push out is that don't stop at 20. If you see it at 20, that just means it's one team. We can go way past that. There's over 1,000 people in this Discord. Just keep pushing it. If you want to run it, put your interest in there. And I think I'm gonna give a shout out to Hits here, our main tank for RT3, because he's been doing a fantastic job going about running his own personal ones off to the side. Obviously, guild approved, but perhaps you can go a little bit deep dive into that as to what Hits has been doing on those Saturday or Sunday mornings, accommodating people who want to run one during the day when those 9 p.m. Eastern times aren't fitting to their schedule.
Yeah, so Hits reached out to me early on in AQ and had asked me if he would be able to put together an off time run. So something, I think he was looking for late morning, early afternoon. I think he settled on like noon Eastern or something like that. And the process for him, and I put this out in an announcement a while back. All you need to do that is just send a message to me or Preceptor. So that's Minari, Castret, or McMumbo. The main reason that I ask people to reach out to one of the 4 of us, and by the way, your turnaround times on a Discord message, I mean, we're all on East Coast, so absent sleeping hours where we try and catch 6 hours on a given night, your turnaround time for each of us, the 4 of us, on a DM is like sub 1 hour most days. So I'm not going to leave you hanging that long if you ask me a question like this. But if you're looking to run something, a couple hours ahead, a day ahead, whatever, the best thing you can do is just shoot us a DM and say, hey, I'm looking to do this. This is the day and the time I'm wanting to do it. Would that be okay? The reason that we want you to ask is because if we're going to do a guild sponsored run, then there's a couple of steps here. So first and foremost, we want to make sure you're up to speed on the loot system that's required. So what it's going to take for you to run it, how to use Gargle, what the loot distribution looks like, where it's going to go. Because while I think some people know that information from with us enough, some people probably take it for granted and may make assumptions that aren't accurate and could lead to problems. And what we don't want to have happen is somebody with the best of intention and without assigning motive to any actions, misallocate, misdistribute, accidentally take or lose or whatever it could be with a piece of gear, and then create some dramatic situation in which now leadership has to step in on a run that they weren't involved with and kind of remedy things. So we're trying to save the headache for the person running it, the headache for the people who would be in it, and then the headache for leadership after the fact. So we want to be able to make sure we're training up the person who's running it and giving them the information they need. The other part of that is that we want to be able to help promote it, right? So if you're going to do it off time, instead of just kind of posting a message like you would have to do if you wanted to do a 5-man, we can create a raid sign up for you, similar to what we're using for the sign up channel, a raid helper one in the Looking for a Group channel, and let you kind of ping folks or ping them for you so that you have a sign up and that you can go based on the sign up. So the reason is twofold. We want to be able to help you, and we want to keep a situation from, with the best of intentions, from turning bad. So much like when you got voluntold that you were doing one of the guild-sponsored 20-mans, we'll coach you through the loot process, and then you're good to go. The only thing is that that process exists every time you want to do one. So, like Hits comes and talks to us and needs to talk to us weekly if he wants to schedule that same event. And the reason why we have you come talk to us, not only is it for that, the two reasons I stated before, but we also want to make sure there's no conflict between guild events. And then number two is there's only going to be a certain capacity to run AQ20s. And what we don't want to have happen is run too many bonuses during a 3-day lockout so that then we end up needing to cancel one of the 9 p.m. scheduled times because we don't have enough people to run that. Which we did happen. We had that happen one time where we probably overscheduled too many bonuses in that lockout kind of early days, and we burnt through our AQ20 interest, and one of the runs got canceled. It's the only run that's been canceled to date, which is really great for us, but it's something we're mindful of. So I think one of the things I think that people might struggle with is kind of taking the wide lens view of what's going on, and kind of there's a bunch of reasons why things might happen or might happen in a certain way, as has been the case with these 20-man rollouts. And so I think this is helpful. I mean, I'm glad we're talking about it because I think it's helpful to kind of get over the assumptions and in terms assumptions on both sides, right? People assuming why leadership's doing something for a particular reason, and then leadership's assumption on what membership is aware of or not aware of. So now hopefully everyone's on the same page in terms of the hows and whys we're doing that 20-man sign-up system the way we are. I know that's a lot, but it's a big system to operate.
It is a big system, but it's a fantastic system. It works. Obviously, we've seen it going through would be flipping between AQ20, ZG. So, I mean, it's a system we know works. And if anybody, whoever's listening in on this, if you're interested in running those, I can tell you from personal experience, it's going to require some bag space. It's going to require a little bit more concentration on your end, making sure people get the right loot. But it's not impossible. Like, it is. I'm not saying it's simple. But the people who will run you through that, the training and everything other than that, it's made to set up so you don't fail. And I think that's the biggest thing coming away from setting up your own if you're trying to orchestrate something outside of that. But say people don't want to do that. Say somebody doesn't want to run the raid, or they're not finding those, again, the 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time's not working for either ZG or AQ20s. When it comes to pugging, and all those pickup groups I've kind of seen along the guild chats when people are trying to, find their way into one. What is the outlook from Adept Scholar Society looking into people using pugs?
Oh yeah, so I mean, listen. Here's the thing. I say this every once in a while to folks who think that we should be doing more, or if we're restricting something in some way. I will very often tell people we cannot be all things to all people, because as soon as we are that, we are nothing. And one of the ways that manifests is these 20 mans and the opportunities that folks have to run things. And so I tell people, listen, we can't. The ones that are guild sponsored are at 9 o'clock. We keep a very static start time because we all signed up for a 9 p.m. guild, right? So we at least all knew what to expect there. And we cater for people from the East Coast to the West Coast. And so for every, if you wanted an earlier run, every person on the East Coast I might gain, I lose one on the West Coast. And your elation at an earlier start time is their frustration that they couldn't make it. So at least expectations are even with 9 p.m. And you don't want to go through the effort of leading something. Totally makes sense. I get it. I run a big guild. I run a lot of raids. You raid lead. I think we all know it can be stressful. It can be a headache. It's not everyone's cup of tea. You got to be a special kind of person to enjoy the pain that comes along with that. So,
You got to
what's
endure it.
that's right. But so what's left for somebody else, right? That doesn't fit into those two categories. Well, you can pug it. I know that's not ideal for some folks, but there are hundreds of AQ20 pugs going on daily. So yeah, you could go outside of the guild and complete a run. It's not guild sponsored, so I can't offer you the protection of the Adept Scholar Society and all of our systems and checks and balances. If something did happen and you had a problem with the pug and you needed help kind of reaching out to other guilds and their leadership, if say someone ninja'd something or there was some drama that happened with it, right? We can help. I would expect if you went into a pug that you would act accordingly, kind of keeping our community standards in mind. What we'd expect from you in guild is what we kind of expect when you're representing the guild in something like that. Um, but at the end of it, the big thing that we ask is because, as we were just talking about, kind of preserving our bench strength for those 20 mans and to keep the guild sponsored runs going actively and to make sure that folks who are signing up have the benefit of runs going off. If you are going to pug because you need to, because of your own schedule, but don't use guild chat or Discord to recruit for a pug. Don't post in guild chat, hey, we need 2 tanks and 5 DPS to fill out this pug who's interested in coming. We'd prefer that folks pug as a last resort to do so because their schedule requires it, and to do so in a solo capacity so that the guild's not having to kind of track its manpower going elsewhere.
Well, it's I've had my fair share of pugs. I think we all have growing up in dungeons. I personally have just stuck to Adept Scholar Society run ones just because it's smoother. And not to mention the amount of scarabs that you'd have to fight over or the idols when going into AQ40 in a pug group, that must be exhausting trying to get what you need. So I'm going to transition this over to my experience with leading the raid. And that was just my backspace coming up with all those idols and those scarabs. There's so many. But the good thing with ours, the way it's set up, is because everything goes to the bank, right? So all those scarabs, all those idols, they go to the bank. And that kind of leads us into requisitions. AQ40 is a very requisition heavy raid for our guild right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to expand on that a little bit. I know it's been rough for you since AQ40 has dropped. So if you want to let the people in on what's been going on and how they can go about actually getting what they need for their gear.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, I'll give away the exact time we're recording this because about an hour ago I posted an announcement about the Tier 2.5 requisition system and kind of why it was a slow process and then also what we're going to do going forward to make it less painful. One statistic I'll share with you, I'll share with everybody here because I think this really kind of outlines why it may take longer than I think some people feel like it should. In our requisition system, from the time that it launched towards the end of Phase 1 till the launch of Phase 5, we had 232 requisition requests. Since Phase 5 has launched, since we're into AQ content, about 3 weeks or so, we have had 170 requisitions. We've almost doubled the total capacity of our requisition system inside of 3 weeks of what it did in its whole lifespan before that.
Those
And
scarabs, I'm telling you.
it really is. And so it's a big Excel sheet to dig through, and then also keep in mind there's no guild bank. Like we have a guild bank add-on. It's a great add-on. You should go download it on CurseForge if you don't have it. It's GBank Classic. Revived, I think, GBank Classic Revived, something like that. There's a link to it in the Discord if you go to links, apps, and resources. It's a link to CurseForge for it. But it's just me. It's 8 of my alts, 7 of my alts, and I have to do all of the mailing, the organizing, the distributing, the tracking. I think everybody, CastJet will be happy I'm mentioning this. Everybody thinks that CastJet makes the decisions because CastJet sends the messages. But the one process in the requisitions that I'm not in charge of is the direct messaging to members, which I let him do because it saves me probably a good third of the time that I would be otherwise spending on requisitions and communicating
You're just
with
sending
members.
him out to get shot.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I think he likes it though. I'm not gonna lie. I think he likes it. But when the requisition decision making happens and the disseminating, that's all me. And so like 2/3 of my playtime on a given week is banking for the guild. I'm looking forward to TBC when I get an actual guild bank and I can farm some of that out to some trusted professors at Guild Ops coming to a theater near you. Watch Samius and Beardong and Galamera quit all of a sudden.
Oh, please don't.
but that's probably the direction we're heading. But for now, it's still just a one pony show here. That pony's me. So it takes a bit. But I put out an announcement to get people. We're recording this on the 11th, by the way. So take a look in the announcements channel on the 11th around 9 o'clock in the evening. I posted an announcement all about the 2.5 distribution. So if you're curious of the correct formatting of a requisition form now for that, highlights are don't request multiple tier pieces in one. Put each tier in its own requisition. Don't request tier pieces and non-tier pieces. In other words, don't request enchanting mats for an item plus a tier piece in the same requisition. Use two submissions. Don't send messages to Guild Ops going, hey, where's my requisition? Why isn't it here yet? I promise I'm working through them. And all you're doing is making CashJet cry because he knows there's only so many times he can call me on Discord and go, hey, when are you going to do requisitions? That was a good CashJet imitation. Come on, give me credit.
Oh, man. I don't know if he's going to like that.
I mean, he won't like it if you say it wasn't accurate. It's pretty good. The other thing, which fun fact, when you're doing this many requisitions, you are mail capped. I don't know how many people would have reason to know this, but in Classic Anniversary servers, you can send mail to 20 unique recipients in a rolling hour. So I can't tell you how many times I have started requisition dissemination only to get hit by a flag that says you can't send any more mail to X, Y, and Z for another however many minutes. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to go soon. So I guess I'll come back and do more requisitions later. Yay!
I personally didn't even know that is a ton of mail to go out.
Yeah, so it's not an ideal situation because there's not resources at this phase of the game, right? So once the guild bank comes out, this will be smoother. People will see shorter wait times. In the meantime, folks, patience and grace. Understand, not only am I running the ship, steering the ship here as the GM, I'm also the guild banker with no way out. So TBC launch in February, yay!
Yeah, well, we appreciate the hard work you put in. That is insane, handling all those alts and all that gear, and it's only going to get worse. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, thank you. I needed to hear that. I needed a little bit of gratitude in my life. It makes it all worth it.
There you go. That's what I'm here for. That's why you brought me on. Guys.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we're gonna wrap this up because we're starting to hit that mark now. But I mean, we covered the 20-man signups. We covered how you can pub. We covered how if you want to raid lead, how you can go about that, who to message, and obviously the requisitions and covering the issues that people have started to see. I think that's a pretty good start for the pilot episode.
We talked
Obviously,
about
we have more questions.
your origins too. Let's you got to include that in the list here. We talked
Ah,
about the Silverthorn
ah,
origin story.
I'm the quiet powerhouse, though. I'm not here for the spotlight,
That's right, the
Mcfaithful.
quiet powerhouse. I forgot about that. Yeah, you got to admit that was one of the best lines. I think everybody in RT3 started calling you that after I announced
Everyone,
your
yeah,
promotion,
everyone.
right?
It's QP.
The
Yeah, it's
quiet
QP.
powerhouse. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. That's
it's
that's
so
good.
good.
My new one the last couple of weeks has been Big Faith, so I'll take it. We've got good
I
nicknames in
do
this
like
guild,
Big
I
Faith.
guess. I already saved it for my shaman. When TBC launches, I'll be probably rolling a resto shaman, and Big Faith has been name saved, ready to go.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, you're right. We are at time, so we'll call it here. One thing I do want to mention is we're going to create a companion Google form for folks in the guild. So if you have questions that you
Oh,
want answers to at these weekly podcasts, we're going to try and get to as many as we can week to week. If we don't get to one, submit the form, and during the guild meeting we can get to it. We're going to still do the same Q&A format for the guild meeting, so all of that's still going to happen just as usual, but this is just going to help us kind of bridge the gap week to week. So having said all that, I really appreciate it. If you've stuck it out and listened for the full 30, we appreciate it. Really happy to be running Adept Scholars Society and its counterparts here on Dream Scythe. I say this a lot, but I think we've kind of captured lightning in a bottle this go around. So it's been exciting. More good things on the horizon. So stick with us, and happy to have you all along for the ride. So Silver, you got anything?
yeah.
Any
Thank you
last
for.
words?
Oh no, I mean you've talked a lot. I think you covered a lot, and you've pretty much said just
I'm known
about
for
anything
that.
and everything I could say. So it's right on par. It's perfect. Again, thank you everybody who stops in to listen to Among the Scholars. Going to be a weekly thing. Put in those questions. We'll get them answered.
All right, we'll see you around, folks.